Member of Parliament for Domi-Kwabena Sarah Adwoa Safo has officially acknowledged President Akufo-Addo's decision to revoke her appointment as Gender and Social Protections Minister after public uproar over the MP's continuous absence both in Parliament and at the ministry. President Akufo-Addo opted to kick her out of office. In her stead, Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa will act as the caretaker minister as we await the decision of Parliament on the nomination of Deputy Gender Minister Lariba Abudu as the substantive minister. So let's bring you excerpts of that communique from the presidency issued on the 2nd of August, indicating that the President of the Republic, in accordance with Article 78 of the Constitution, has appointed the Deputy Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Lariba Abudu, the Member of Parliament for Waliwali, as the Minister Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection. Now, her appointment is subject to the approval from Parliament. Now, pursuant to Article 79 of the Constitution, President Akufo-Addo has actually nominated Francisca Otain-Mensah, the Member of Parliament for Kwabre East, and as Deputy Minister Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection, now subject to the approval of Parliament. Now, the President is hopeful that Parliament will also expedite the approval of his nominees for that important ministry as we're getting, so that they can assist in the effective delivery of the mandate of his second term. So that's the communique we got from the presidency earlier this month. But you do recall that we had an exclusive with Sarah Adwoa Safo, who told us earlier this year on the polls that she had hopes of resuming her duties as gender minister once she returns to the country. Suspect then could be the motive of, for instance, very high-profile persons within the NPP. For instance, you have the general secretary of your political party, for instance, coming out publicly to say the NPP was considering at some point relieving you of the party ticket and declaring your seat vacant. You've heard John Boydu say some of these words. How does that come to you, and what do you believe may be the motive of your general secretary?
I cannot speak to people's motives. What I can speak to is what I know. And what I know is I have been on the party's ticket for the people of Domi-Kwabena, and I have given the highest votes to the party. And I'm the first woman to lead, and I have led, and my words and my footprints are there for everybody to see. And if I have to take time off at this crucial time, and I have done, I believe that the reasonable people would understand. And I believe he's reasonable as well.
And we know that definitely, as you're indicating to us, you will return. But then the question about resuming your role as gender minister. We know there's a caretaker minister as we speak, acting in your stead. Will you take up the post immediately you return, or perhaps you are considering resigning from post?
That is what you're expecting, or that's what other people are expecting?
Well, it's all about you in the end, because you say the president is well aware. So what will you do? Will you take up the post once you return?
And since I haven't resigned, it's implied that exactly what you're saying is the truth. When I touch down, I am going to do what I have to do as a minister, since I haven't been relieved of my post yet.
So why are you failing to give the people of Ghana and your constituents the exact date that you'll return to this country? A lot of people are anxious, waiting to see, well, she says she'll come back, but she's not showing up anytime soon. When is Sarah Adwoa Safo returning?
She's going to return when issues with family are well sorted out. And that is not something that I can predict. And that is not something that is within my power. And there is a lot within the United States that I don't want to share. And we're talking about a child, and we're talking about medical stuff. And I don't want to put it out there, because even if you ask for it from the authorities here, they're not going to give it to you. And I'm not going to give it out in public. So everything is going to work out, and I'm going to come back and take my position. So whatever anybody is saying, I think we're in a reorganization mood in the party. People have interest. People have motives. People have things that they want to do. But I don't want to be the center of that. And I'm concentrating on what I asked permission from the head of state, the commander-in-chief, and the president of the republic that I'm going to do is exactly what I'm doing.
Okay, then, fast forward, Sarah Adwoa Safo appears to have welcomed the decision of the president. Well, she's actually officially reaching to the president, indicating that the decision of the president to revoke her appointment will now afford her the opportunity to concentrate on her parliamentary duties. Let's bring you a excerpt of the letter intercepted by Joy News, reaching to the president. It indicates that I acknowledge your letter dated the 28th of July 2022, and I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to serve as Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. On Friday, the 29th of July 2022, I handed over all official assets to the administrator of the ministry. It is with profound gratitude that I express the utmost appreciation to you for the opportunity to serve as minister in both terms of your government. She continues to say that it was an honor to serve at this all-important ministry, albeit for a short time. During the period, we put in place enough mechanisms to ensure a harmonious society where the survival and development of women, children, persons with disability, as well as other vulnerable persons in our society can be guaranteed in line with your vision to transform the social protection framework into a robust and more responsive one. Sarah Adwoa Safo says that, quote, I am exceedingly grateful for your understanding, compassion, and an ending devotion throughout this past year, especially during a very difficult period for me where I have had to be away from office. Your kind support has been very much welcome, and for that I remain eternally grateful. Cognizance of my duty and duties to 75,000 constituents who elected me, this development is opportune and will afford me more time to concentrate on my parliamentary responsibilities and constituency engagements, as well as consolidate the gains we have made as a government at the constituency level in our quest to break the 8. Many thanks, she says. And we all know that Sarah Adwoa Safo has been a subject of the calls for her seat to be declared vacant in Parliament after missing some 40 sittings there. But we do know that there's a lot of reactions greeting this very letter reaching to the president. Joining us now from the United Kingdom is Theophilus Ansalabi. He happens to be the NPP's constituency secretary for Dome Kwabenya. Well, he's away for a while. He's joining us via Zoom. Kina Likimani, the director of special programs at Odikro, is joining us. And we also do have Ras Mubarak, former member of Parliament for Kumbungu. He's joining us also via Zoom. Thank you, gentlemen and lady, for joining us. So, Likimani, let's start off with you. Obviously, we do know that you issued that report where Sarah Adwoa Safo appears to be leading the chart in terms of the highest number of absentees or absentee MPs in Parliament. So, giving her assurance now that, well, she would now be focused on parliamentary duties, do we pardon her and allow her to resume her duties?
Good afternoon for having me. It's not for us to pardon her. When you say us, I don't know, is it who is us? There are constitutional provisions and a process that was initiated by the Speaker of Parliament in line with those provisions and in line with the standing orders of Parliament, where she basically, that was her second, in fact, she was, Adwoa Safo was elected MP before she was hired as the president. So assuring the president that you will be, you will now pay attention to the constituency is kind of odd to me, because there was a process. Your assurances were she was asked to report to the Privileges Committee why she had missed 40 sittings out of a total of 41. She didn't appear. She didn't make herself available. So I find the letter and the assurance. Of course, she can write to the president. That was her former employer. But I find assuring the president when there is this other issue, there's a whole body with these processes which you have to attend to, not you know, maybe write to the speaker. I don't know.
Yeah, but Kina, the point is, some other members who are referred to the Privileges Committee have been left off the hook. The belief is, now that we're getting a sense of what her condition is and the assurance she's giving, at least she should be pardoned just like the others.
But are you her lawyer?
I'm just asking questions anyway.
No,
that's my job.
The process, let me be clear. The process, when you say those other two were pardoned or whatever, they submitted themselves to the Privileges Committee. Let me, I keep repeating this point, and I'm going to repeat it here. The Constitution is incredibly kind and understanding. The Constitution understands that MPs are human beings with lives. And as human beings with lives, they have family members, they will attend to different things. Emergencies may come up. What the Constitution says is that on an ordinary day, you wake up as an MP and Parliament is sitting, you plan on getting to Parliament. But on that day, anything can happen. The Constitution allows you 14 days where anything can happen, and so therefore, you don't give advance notice to the leaders and to the speaker that you will not be there. The Constitution is kind; it allows you those 14 days. What the Constitution says is that after those 14 days, 15 days and above, you have now violated, an absenteeism clause. The process is that the Privileges Committee calls you. You explain yourself. Again, another grace period. You explain yourself, and the committee makes a judgment on that. So there is already the kindness. It's like your what is it called? Your benefit.
Right.
The Constitution doesn't just set out and say from day one when you are absent. She was absent 40 days. Let me also point out that while she was doing TikTok stuff and everybody is allowed to because we are human beings. Issues come up. It is a very simple form. Fill the form and seek the permission.
Right.
You already know the dates that you are going to be traveling, you're going to be away from Ghana. It's a one page. You fill it out, you let them know. Otherwise, we won't be here. You see, some of this is just a very simple thing. Fill the form. Even, I think, Honorable Korte, who said he went abroad his explanation was he went abroad for medical care. Right. It's painful for me to hear this because when he was planning his trip abroad, he bought a plane ticket, he arranged medical care with whichever country, he must have sought the visas for the countries, he must have made accommodation. Part of this is respect Parliament and its rules. Your employer, the people of Ghana, fill out the form.
I get the point you're making. Let's also hear from the party perspective. Theophilus Ansah Labi's constituency secretary for the New Patriotic Party. Theo, thank you for your time. So this is where we are today. It's clear that Sarah Adwoa Safo is committed to breaking the 8 with you. Are you willing to walk that path with her as a political party in the constituency? Theophilus, you'd have to unmute for me first of all so I can hear the points you're making. Yes, Theophilus, yes, I can hear you now, yes.
Good. I said, thank you for having me, and I would like to say good afternoon to your cherished listeners. I think I've been to your studios, and I've been to several studios with this issue. What I would say is that literally biasing personalities doesn't really change their attitude, except the consequences of their actions catches up with them. Actually, this situation shouldn't have gotten where we are now, yes. And I've always said that Honorable was welcome. She should let us have a cut-off point to whatever is happening so that she comes over to the constituency and we'll work together, because that's what the people voted her for. And we are saying here that no individual in the constituency or in the party is interested in kicking her away so that her position will be taken from her. What we're saying is that we have the men, we have the women, but we are not kicking her out. It is her own actions that has brought her where she is now. But it's a bit laughable when in the letter, Honorable Adwoa Safo says taking her out as a cabinet minister will enable her concentrate on her duties as a member of parliament. I don't know, but
yeah, but I mean, you understand the workings of government. You know what time it requires, even as a minister of state, talk less of a cabinet minister. She has more time on her hands now to at least focus on the constituency and work together with you. You agree?
What it is that, you know, the cabinet is the body that takes the decision, serious governmental decisions. And you'll be privileged for you to have your member of parliament part of this very body, because serious governmental decisions are taken there. So your needs as a constituency will be even heard first before it goes anywhere. That's what I'm saying, because it's not an ordinary position our honorable member of parliament had, and we were all looking forward to benefit from that. And you say, okay, that is up to her. But what we are saying is that we wish her well if she's coming, that he had a very Herculean task of coming back to make amends with constituency executive committee. She has disrespected for far too long and neglected far too long. Area coordinators, she has done same too. I can't speak for the municipal assembly comprising of assembly members, right, the presiding member, and all that she has. It is not going to be that easy for her coming, because she has disrespected almost everybody. I came to your studio and said once that she has been unfair to herself.
She talks about breaking the 8, and let me say this, that this may be my personal inference, but I guess it's no accident for us to find Sarah Adwoa Safo state in her letter that she's member of parliament for 75,000 people. That's a significant number, you do agree. You don't want to mess with that figure in terms of your agenda to break the 8. So when she points out the number, many believe that that's where, as constituency leadership, you must be mindful of breaking your front. That's the most populous constituency in the country now.
Exactly so. We have 174,000 registered voters.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to more votes than what she mentioned, because the president had 78,000.
Yes, but you don't want to risk. You don't want to risk the number. If Sarah Adwoa Safo is not treated well, you agree that that may affect your chances.
We all wish MPP well. We wish MPP succeed. That's why we are. We are workers of the party, and we are working so hard to break the 8. So whosoever rhymes with that, we are happy, basically. But what we are saying is that we wish her well. But what she has done in this time past, ever since she was voted as a member of parliament, has cost us so much that I think, in my own opinion, will take her a hell of a time to make amends, to move forward to say that we want to break the 8.
Well,
because you have
that's a serious statement you're making as a party executive.
That's what
in fact, the threat to party unity.
You have constituency executive committee,
yeah,
which is made up of a chairman, secretary, and 17 executives that you haven't spoken to for over 2 years. You have, you know, she's an MP for the whole constituency. All constituents of the constituency, including NDCs, MPPs, and all political parties. But MPP as a party has a structure in place to make the party work so smooth, including the work of the MP. And this structure is what I say she has disrespected and she has neglected for too long.
Theophilus, just hold on for me. Let me bring in Ras Mubarak. He was actually part of the, persons who also petitioned Parliament on the issue of absenteeism. Ras, it's good to be hearing from you now. Finally, we've seen that official letter acknowledging, at least for the very first time, a letter from a state official. All attempts by the Privileges Committee to get Sarah Adwoa Safo proved futile. We're at a point where the official report has been laid before plenary. Then we hear Sarah Adwoa Safo writing to the president. Will that change? Does it have any capacity to change what it is that's happening in Parliament for now?
Well, I feel sorry about her son. I also feel sorry for her because she's one person who had a very, promising future politically, especially as a young female MP. We all thought that the sky was the limit for her. But I can tell you that she has thrown everything up in flame, with her lack of candor with the people in her constituency, with her gross disrespect of Parliament. with her brazen display of a lack of, principle. The Domi Kwabena seat is not a personal fiefdom where you would hold on to it by hook or crook. You would expect anyone with a bit of scruples and principle to step aside in situations like this so that they can attend to personal situations. Unfortunately, she did not do that.
No, but Ras, this is a norm in Parliament, you agree? I mean, you've been there before.
No, I mean...
So you do agree. I mean, almost all of your colleagues do that.
The issue of absenteeism, it's a source of great worry for everyone who means well for Ghana, but that cannot be justified, especially when she's been given every opportunity, by the Privileges Committee to explain away, why she should not suffer the penalty thereof. Unfortunately, she decided to disrespect the committee, a conduct I would call even contempt of Parliament, and this is where we are. I was disappointed a decision was not made. The longer we take...
Oh, really? You're disappointed with what the Speaker did? The Speaker had every fine opportunity to at least go ahead and give his ruling. He says, I'm waiting on the old lady. That old lady has taken us into recess. We're waiting. We don't know what that old lady will tell the Speaker when we return.
I was exceedingly, like many other Ghanaians who were, waiting with bated breath to see the closure of that particular issue. Unfortunately, it was an anticlimax. And here we are, Sarah Adwoa Safo, ridiculously suggesting that she's coming to Parliament. She's not coming to Parliament. As far as this Parliament is concerned, she's done and dusted. No,
I mean, this is a member of Parliament. She even indicates that in the letter to the President. She says, at least now I have my hands off the ministerial work. It's time for me to focus on my constituency. By law, her seat is not vacant.
She can say what she wants to say, but I don't see her coming back to Parliament under these current circumstances where she has, made her case very worse, where she has disrespected and could be found to have been in contempt of Parliament by her brazen disrespect and refusal, to appear before the Privileges Committee. She has a chance to write to the presidency, but would not respect Parliament enough to want to write to Parliament or explain why she can't appear before a committee of Parliament. And let me say that those who are, encouraging this kind of conduct from within Parliament are not doing the country any good. Those who seem to be wanting to be in the way of having the Constitution respected are not doing us any...
Okay, Ras, I'll tell you who's in the way. It's your own side of the House, the minority. They've appeared with a certain posture of delaying the processes, in fact, challenging the First Deputy Speaker on his interpretation of the law, that by now, Sarah Adwoa Safo's seat should have been vacant.
Well, I'm sure you've heard my comments about the conduct of the minority front bench on this particular issue. It's a self-serving, conduct. It does not serve the best interest of the NDC in the short, medium, or long term. Neither does it serve the best interest of the country. They are on their own frolic, and the good people of Ghana would know the people who are really defending the Constitution, and would know the people who want to put the interest of their friends high and above the interest of the country. Nobody in any serious parliament or country would entertain this kind of behavior. Nobody would entertain.
Yeah, but we entertain the likes of course, the Greater Crown Regional Minister. He's giving explanations as to why he's not, of course, being around. We've heard from Kennedy Japan as well. All of these persons were spared. And Odikro is telling us through their parliamentary observation report that the list goes on and on. As many as 28 others or so. That's
it's a tall list.
Yes, precisely. So why be fixated on Sarah Adwoa Safo? I guess it's not simply fair when you do that to her. right?
In my petition to the Speaker of Parliament, as of the time I wrote the petition, I cited 4 MPs: the Honorable Harry Kote, Sarah Adwoa Safo, the Honorable Kennedy Japan, and the Honorable Kojokum, based on the information that I had at that particular moment. You know, I frown on this culture of people, you know, deciding to treat Parliament anyhow. It doesn't help in advancing the cause of democracy in our country, you know. And if I had information on some other MPs who had absented themselves, be rest assured I would have included that. Now, the Constitution, which is supreme, gives anyone who is cited for contempt or for absenting themselves an opportunity to explain away why they shouldn't be punished. You wouldn't blame me or anybody, you know, for that provision in the Constitution. The Constitution would adhere to those MPs, at least 2 of them who were cited, have the humility to appear before the Privileges Committee. Sarah Adwoa Safo decided that she was going to treat the committee's letters with disdain and with contempt. And so she decided not to appear before the committee. Now she's telling us in a rather ridiculous turn of events, you know, that she's looking forward to coming to her job as a member of Parliament. I would be exceedingly disappointed if this were to be the case, because we can't make examples of, you know, junior officers, of civil servants who misconduct themselves.
Could it not be a simple case that she's turning a new leaf? I mean, she's saying, I will now be a good girl. I mean, just to read meanings into what it is she's saying. Why not pardon her? At least we've pardoned the first, the second person involved. She's the third. Allow her to return, and then we could assess. Well, okay, yes. Really? Ras, I'll come to you. Ras, I'll come to you. Just hold on for me. So let me bring in Kina. Yes.
But your posture is alarming.
No, but
what are you trying? Exactly what are you trying to say? Are you, because you are asking questions and the questions you are asking, it's making us, even we mom that we are sticking to the process, come off looking unreasonable.
No, that's not entirely the point. The issue about what's happened. Yes, what's happened over the period.
The representation of Ghanaian citizens, just as Honorable Mubarak has said, it's not a family business. It's not something that you are entitled to. If you stand in front of the, 105,000 people, and you say you are going to represent them, when you are put in Parliament, you have to abide by the Constitution. So when you say we should forget, what is this laissez-faire attitude you are having? Because
but the point is, the 28 others you point out in your report are still members of Parliament. They still appear.
We submitted the report on the last day.
Yeah.
We have done our work. We've told Parliament when they come back, they should meet on it. They haven't come back. My point is
but in your report, clearly, Kina, just a minute. Kina, just a minute. In your report, you pointed out that you were sourcing your data right from Parliament, which means that the Speaker of Parliament, if indeed he is the Speaker of Parliament, would have been aware of the figures, knowing how many MPs did not abide by the rules. All of these persons were not referred to the Privileges Committee.
Let me explain something. Your innuendos are not right. If somebody is indeed the Speaker of Parliament, let's not do that. It's not necessary for so many words in English to make innuendos that are uncalled for. The current Speaker of Parliament is the Right Honourable Alban Bagman, not indeed. Secondly, and this is where Odikro comes in, we take the votes and proceedings, which is the official register of Parliament, which is an open document. We take those physical documents, we scan them, and then we use programming language to extract the data, and then we spend countless hours verifying and making sure the data is correct. Now, we can talk about how Parliament, and we support this, can go into more, can you say an electronic register, say fingerprints, which will automatically tally, but Parliament doesn't do that. So because absenteeism is a provision of the Constitution, we do this work. The beneficiary, the target of this work is the Speaker. We have done countless reports we haven't submitted, we haven't released, we release it to, we give it to the Speaker. once the speaker, so it's not like once the speakers have it, then they act on it. I'm not here to hold brief for any speaker, but what I would say is that Honorable Bagman is the first speaker, for whatever reason, to have opened the door to look at absenteeism. Past speakers, they didn't even want Odikro to release reports. And I am very heartened by that Honorable Ras Mubarak petitioned. It is not an easy thing to take pieces of paper and sit down and do this way, but we've done it. Let us not belabor the fact that some CSO has done it. We have, in fact, the document is open, and I think I've shared it to people at Joy. You can go and check every single instance of absenteeism. So that's not the point either. The point is that there is a process that now, for whatever reason, I'm not a political watcher in the ins and outs. This speaker has opened the door to absenteeism. Honorable Adwoa Safo was given an opportunity. I want to belabor the point I made earlier that the Constitution is kind and forgiving. It's 15 days after is where the violation starts. After that, she was written to by the Privileges Committee when they couldn't find her. I think they even put announcements somewhere in public.
Yes,
she knew. She knew. She knew. We all knew. She was nowhere to be found. Nor did she even write in to say, you know what, I am sorry I missed the date. Please reschedule. Even now, maybe she can do it. But it is not for... I don't understand this.
Anyway, I see how passionate you're getting.
It's like, look, MP, it is the way sometimes our parliament has sort of subjugated its mandate and its role to the executive. Is why people don't understand that the power and the mandate that parliament has, only parliament has it. Only parliament has responsibilities like they do for lawmaking, for representation and overseeing the executive. Okay. This is no joke.
Right.
This is absolutely no joke.
Okay.
And I would beg you that your line of questioning respects that, because this is not even about political movements and shenanigans at the constituency level. She represents the largest constituency in Ghana. So even the breaking and the 8, and we are not talking about, we're talking about people living in urban Accra, 105,000 of them, and their representation. This is not a party.
Let's bring in Ras. Obviously, Kina not happy about the questions I'm putting across, but yes, we need to talk about the others as well involved in this. Do you intend to take up any action against all of these persons as well? Because you petitioned about the first 3. Do you intend to take any action against the others as well?
One at a time. The indignation Kini expressed are righteous, you know, and as much as you may want to play the devil's advocate, the reality is that, you know, those who have absented themselves have not done our country any good. The person we're talking about has spoken from abroad more than she's spoken from the floor of Parliament. 75,000 or so people, you know, elected her. How many times within the context you are talking about was she on the floor of Parliament, you know, representing her people? She didn't, but at least we know she's been in the media domain at least twice, you know. So the people of Dome Kwabenya have a right to be represented in Parliament, just like any other constituency. I would use this opportunity to call on her party to deselect her, you know, to call on Parliament to expedite action on bringing a finality to this issue, and to call on, you know, constituents to be mindful of the kinds of people we put out to represent us, and that constituents have within them, they have the powers, you know, to punish. This is not the first time, as Odikro had indicated time and again, that MPs are absenting themselves, you know. But what do we see? We have a flawed electoral system where these MPs go get elected, you know, come back, perpetuate the same levels of indiscipline. Parliament is serious, is a place of serious work, you know, and we should be mindful how we approach, you know, the work of Parliament.
Okay, you're asking his party, right? You are asking, yeah, just land on that point then.
It is very incumbent on constituents to watch out on all of these things, you know, and if the MPs are not behaving in a manner that best represents their interest, they, the people, have a right to say, we don't want so and so MP. The political parties should crack the whip and get the right things done. And of course, Parliament, should not waste time in dispensing with cases like this.
Okay, then. That's why I want to bring in Theophilus as well, who's on Zoom with us. Theo, so where do we go from here? What do you intend to do as the political party and the constituency executives? Are we likely to see any statement or perhaps a caution to the MP?
What I am happy is that Honorable Adwoa Safo mentioned figures of 75,000. The question is that, does the same 75,000 have that trust it gave you 2 years ago? That trust, does it still exist now? 75,000. Does the executive committee you were working with 2 years ago, do they have the same trust in you as it stands now because of your behavior and attitude? All I can say is that we wish her well. As a party in the constituency, we want to tell her that we're not pushing her away. We don't have that interest in her position. We had certain level of trust for her. We voted for her. We had some expectations from her. And basically, she has disappointed us. That's all we will say.
And you're saying this on behalf of the executives, not the 75,000 persons, because if you look at the some of the research works that we've seen recently.
The 75,000 people are MPP, basically. Majority of them have the same way, they think the same way MPP thinks.
Yeah, but the point is that I'm pointing to some figures we've seen in recent times from, is it Global Info Analytics, pointing to the fact that she remains a bit popular in the constituency itself. She may win the elections by some 51% as the polls is indicating in that report. So that's not a fact you'd want to push away easily, right?
What I'm saying is that MPP has made Adwoa Safo who she is today, basically. Without MPP, we did not know so much of her. And the seat was an MPP safe seat before she took over. Professor Aaron Michael O'Quinn has done his best. He was the MP for 2 terms before Honorable Adwoa Safo came in, and she is in for the 3rd term. So if she thinks she's the only person who can make MPP what it is in Domingo Kwabena, then we are all making a mistake, including herself, actually. So yes, in as much as we respect her, we had some level of faith and trust in her some time ago, her attitude has diminished.
Yeah, but I'm asking about sanctions.
Looking forward to breaking the 8. We're not looking forward to diminish our numbers. But as we all know, politics is maturing in Ghana. That certain things people used to look at before voting for you are different nowadays. And by her attitude, I can tell you, our vote is likely to diminish. Because even staying in power and seeking another term is a different, another ball game altogether. So if you are in power and you're looking forward to break the 8, all your actions are actions that should be appealing to the people that will be voting for you. It shouldn't be negative actions that will put you in the news for negative reasons all the time. That's what we're talking about.
All right then. Worst case scenario, worst case scenario, if we have Sarah Adwoa Safo, for instance, prevented, I'm not saying that's what you intend to do as the executives of the party, prevented from running the primaries, she may decide to go independent. That could affect your fortunes, right?
But MPP is supreme. That's what I can tell you. The party is strong. The party is supreme. The party is bigger than any individual. So MPP will still remain victorious, irrespective. That's all I can tell you now.
Okay. Let's look forward to what we could be doing in strengthening Parliament. Ras, I'll start off with you. Where do we go from here?
Well, clearly, incidences like this further strengthen the collapse of trust, in politics by the Ghanaian public. And we all should be guided. I am confident that the Right Honourable Speaker Bagbin would come out with a decision that is in the best interest of the country. and no one is picking up on her. We all, you know, the more women we have in our politics, the better for all of us, because, you know, you get to have diversity of decision-making and opinion. So it's tragic if one, you know, knowledgeable woman, you know, leaves the scene. But clearly, Adwoa Safo has demonstrated a lack of commitment to the country and a lack of principle, you know, for which reason I couldn't even demand for her to, you know, tender in her, you know, her resignation as an MP, because that is what anyone with any, you know, with the smallest ounce of principle would do. Unfortunately, she's lost it all and completely out of touch. But we should be guided by the damage that incidences like this do to our democracy.
Let's wrap up on the point about the poster of the Speaker and the proverbial early shadows. If the Speaker was going to ever act on this, the belief is that should have been done at the very last sitting before recess. He's missed that opportunity. Would you be surprised if the Speaker comes back to say, let's forgive her?
I'd be in utter shock, you know, and the Speaker would have eroded the applause that he's received from the Ghanaian public, at least for being the first Speaker to, you know, admit a situation like this, you know, to allow for a process like this to happen. Previous Speakers have, you know, shut the door at any such opportunity, you know, to scrutinize Parliament, you know, and it would have been a nail in the coffin of the little amount of confidence that is left, you know, in the institution of Parliament. And I can tell you that if that were to happen, we would find it so difficult to discipline other civil servants who are misconducting themselves in this way.
Kina?
I agree with everything that Honorable Ras Mubarak has said. You know, so on this list, I mean, for that session, it was 33 members that violated the Article 97(1). But even when you go through the individual votes and proceedings, you know, there are many days where clearly half of MPs are not in the chamber. And, you know, when I was doing the validation, I was like, does one half of Parliament have a party or a meeting somewhere that the other half didn't know? It just looks awful. Sometimes the Speaker enters the chamber and the majority of MPs are not there. So we really, I mean, we are encouraged by what Right Honorable Alban Bagbin has initiated. It is as Honorable Mubarak has said, he needs to follow through on it. On the other hand, too, every time we are talking about, when we talk about absentees, we are not talking about those who make sure they attend. I have a list of about like 30 or more who have perfect records. That is, they attended every single meeting, or maybe they sought permission for maybe 2 or 3, including, I think, one of the MPs for WA, or, you know, so it's not even an issue of distance. So again, you know, maybe Ghanaians, we keep telling people that it is an actual simple 1-page form. Sometimes, you know, the majority leaders will tell us that, you know, they call us when they are on their way to the airport. This is not how you should deal with your seniors at work and the employers, the people who have employed you, which is Ghanaians. Calling your leader to say, I have an urgent meeting, is not seeking permission the right way. And it's a simple form. They should fill it out, and they should actually make an effort to prioritize the work of Parliament and to be on the floor of Parliament, because attendance is the bare minimum. We can't talk about representation if people are not attending. And so, you know, like the constituency executive said, we are obviously maturing. Some of this is coming a little bit late, but we will not be. Remember, we are encouraged by what is happening. So we hope that the Speaker follows through.
Okay, then. Let me give the final words to your thoughts. You may be a political party, but obviously the type of candidates you choose is very key in this process. So what's that pledge you're making as constituents or delegates of the New Patriotic Party in the Dome Kwabena area going into the next primaries of the New Patriotic Party, which is coming up shortly?
We have the men and women. We're not lacking the people to contest. In every primaries, we've gotten people contesting. The last primaries, Honorable Adwoa won narrowly by 8 votes. That tells you, okay, we have the people in every. So Dominic Obenya, as a constituency, have the trust in MPP, and we are delivering. And we're going to manage the expectation of the people of Dominic Obenya and tell them that if Adwoa Safo comes, that is fine. Changing her ways, we will deliver. If she goes away, we have people to replace her. But I'm putting it on record, we are not pushing her away as executive or a party in the constituency. But it is her own act that is catching up with her, or that has caught up with her, that has led to what we're having now. So the assurance is that the expectation of the people in the constituency is well managed with or without her. So we'll still keep the seat.
Theophilus, Kina, and of course, Ras, thank you all. What a conversation it has been. But I'm grateful. It's worth the while. Thank you all for joining us. I guess we need a break at this point here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. We'll be back shortly. And when we return, we'll talk about Alan Chermating. He's been speaking about government's industrialization agenda.